Welcome to our channel United Coaching. Today we will discuss questions in science and technology. Our question is, which mineral is also called brown diamond? So answer is lignite, or brown coal is sometimes called the brown diamond because it is brown in color, and lignite or brown coal is a soft brown combustible sedimentary rock formed from naturally compressed peat. Our next question is, the spherical shape of raindrops is due to. So answer is surface tension of water. This surface tension causes the formation of so-called skin of the water drop that makes the molecules stick together, and the spherical shape has the smallest surface area compared to other shapes with the same volume occupied, and this results from the tug of war between two forces, that is the surface tension of the water and the pressure of the air pushing against the molecules of the liquid, and this makes the shape of the raindrop spherical. Our next question is, which among the following is not an example of capillary action? So is it the upward movement of water in a straw, or tears moving through tear duct, or formation of soap bubbles, or absorption of ink by blotting paper? So answer is formation of soap bubbles. Formation of soap bubbles is the example of surface tension, and rest other options are example of capillary action. Our next question is, which of the following is not one of the fundamental unit in physics? So is it time, length, weight, or mass? So answer is weight. The three basic fundamental units in physical quantities are length, mass, and time. So length, mass, and time are the basic fundamental units, and the other units are the derived units, like area or velocity or acceleration or weight or pressure, etc. Our next question is, select the odd one out. So is it rodents, reptiles, primate, or cow? So answer is cow. Cow is an example or an animal which belongs to the class Mammalia, and reptiles, rodents, and primates are the names in the classification. Like reptiles is a class of animals, and rodents and primates are the name of the order under Mammalia. So the cow over here represents an example in Mammalia, and it is not the name of any class or order in classification. Our next question is, which of the following produces more severe burns? So is it boiling water, steam, hot air, or sun rays? So answer is steam. At the same temperature, steam causes more severe burns than hot air, boiling water, or sun rays, and this is because steam has more amount of heat energy in the form of latent heat. It requires latent heat of vaporization for boiling water to change phase from liquid to vapor. So when steam comes in contact with our skin, it releases more heat and thus causing severe burns. Our next question is, which of the following compounds is responsible for the formation of kidney stones? So is it sodium chloride, or silicates, or calcium oxalate, or calcium bicarbonate? So answer is calcium oxalate. Most kidney stones are calcium stones and usually in the form of calcium oxalate, and oxalate is a naturally occurring substance found in food. So the kidney stones are basically calcium oxalate depositions in the kidney. Our next question is, which is the most abundant inert gas in the atmosphere of Earth? So is it helium, neon, argon, or xenon? So our answer is argon. Argon is the most abundant of the noble gases, and it is the third most common gas found in Earth's atmosphere. The most abundant gases in the atmosphere is nitrogen, and then second one is oxygen, and the third one is argon. And the abundance of argon is due to the radioactive decay of potassium 40, which forms argon 40, which is the most abundant isotope of argon on Earth. Our next question is, the most malleable metal is. So is it platinum, silver, iron, or gold? So answer is gold. The most malleable metal that exists in its pure state is gold, and malleability of a substance is its ability to deform under pressure or compressive stress, and gold is also the most ductile metal, that is it is capable of being flattened to the extent of 0.0001 millimeter in thickness, that is 10,000 part of 1 millimeter in thickness. So answer is gold is the most malleable metal. Our next question is, which gas is used in manufacturing of Vanaspati ghee from vegetable oil? So answer is hydrogen. When hydrogen gas is passed through vegetable oils such as groundnut oil or peanut oil or cottonseed oil or coconut oil at temperatures around 1800 degrees Celsius in the presence of nickel as catalyst under 5 atmospheric pressure, the oils get solidified as vanaspati ghee, and the product on cooling becomes a palatable solid fat, and the process is known as catalytic hydrogenation of oils. Now vanaspati ghee is not very healthy because it contains very high amount of trans fats which can be harmful for heart and can result in heart attack or stroke. So vanaspati ghee is not very healthy, and it is formed by hydrogenation of vegetable oil. Our next question is, which layer of the atmosphere is also called ozonosphere? So answer is stratosphere. The ozone layer is one of the many layers of stratosphere, which is the second layer of the Earth's atmosphere. The stratosphere is the mass of protective gases around our planet, and it gets its name because it is stratified or layered, and approximately 90% of the ozone occurs in the stratosphere, which is the region extending from 10 to 18 kilometers to approximately 50 kilometers above Earth's surface. Our next question is, which of the following is responsible for turning Taj Mahal yellow or off-white in color? So is it potassium, calcium, carbon dioxide or sulfur dioxide? So answer is sulfur dioxide. The Taj Mahal has been seriously affected by sulfur dioxide, and the white marble has yellowed and blackened in many places. The sulfur dioxide is emitted by the refineries and industries, and when this sulfur dioxide is combined with oxygen in the atmosphere, it forms sulfuric acid and it causes acid rain, and thus it corrodes the gleaming white marble of the Taj Mahal. Our next question is, which among the following is the most electronegative element? So is it lithium, sodium, magnesium or fluorine? So answer is fluorine. In general, electronegativity is the measure of an atom's ability to gain electron to form a covalent bond, and fluorine is the most electronegative element with a value of 3.98 on the Pauling scale, and this is because it contains 5 electrons in its 2p shell, and the optimal electron configuration of the 2p orbital is 6 electrons. So this makes fluorine highly capable of gaining just 1 electron and thus completing its electronic configuration, and because of this fluorine becomes the most electronegative element. Our next question is, polythene and PVC are some of the examples of. So is it thermosetting plastic or thermoplastic or acrylic or nylon? So answer is thermoplastics. Polythene and PVC, that is polyvinyl chloride, are some of the examples of thermoplastics that are less rigid than thermoset or thermosetting plastics, and thermoplastics can soften up upon heating and return to their original form, whereas thermoset plastics always remain in a permanent solid state. And example of thermoplastic would be common household items like bottles or the polythene bags, etc. And the thermoplastics are easily molded and extruded into films or fibers or and other packaging materials, whereas the common example of thermosetting plastics is epoxy resin or electrical casing around the electrical wiring in household or industry, etc., and other household or industrial appliances which require that they do not melt or break in high temperatures. So for that, thermosetting plastics is used, and for common purpose, our everyday use, thermoplastics is used, for which the example is polythene or PVC. Our next question is, what is the tendency of a system to resist change in its internal environment called? So is it nomadism or amensalism or homeostasis or symbiosis? So answer is homeostasis. Homeostasis is the tendency to resist change in order to maintain a stable, relatively constant internal environment. For example, through homeostasis mechanism, the body temperature is kept within normal range, the osmotic pressure of blood is and its hydrogen ion concentration is kept within strict limits, and nutrients are supplied to cells as needed because of homeostasis, and waste products are removed before they accumulate and reach toxic levels of concentration. And all of this because of homeostasis, because it is the tendency of a system to resist change and keep it under a constant environment. Our next question is, translucent objects are the objects through which we, so options are cannot see at all, or can see clearly, or can see but not very clearly, or none of the above options. So answer is can see but not very clearly. So translucent objects are the objects through which we can see but not very clearly, and the materials through which light passes partially are called translucent objects. They are not as transparent as a clean glass, nor they are as opaque as a piece of wood, and through which we cannot see at all. So example of the translucent objects would be oil paper or wax paper or sunglasses or plastics or fluids, etc. So translucent objects are the objects through which we can see but not very clearly. Our next question is, by which process the water evaporates through the stomata present on the surface of the leaves? So is it evaporation, transpiration, photosynthesis, or transportation? So answer is transpiration. Now we know photosynthesis is converting carbon dioxide and water with the help of sunlight into carbohydrates and oxygen, and transportation is nothing but transportation of water and minerals and carbohydrates throughout the plant body. And the difference between evaporation and transpiration is that the transpiration is a physiological process and evaporation is a physical process. The transpiration is a slow process, and it occurs in living tissues, and it is the loss of water from the plant cell through stomata or cuticle or lenticle, and it occurs only during the daytime, and it helps in the uptake of minerals and nutrients, whereas evaporation is a very fast process, and it involves non-living matter, and it is the loss of water from the free surface of the water, and it occurs from the entire surface of the water, and it can occur throughout the day or night as well, and it is not associated with the uptake of minerals or nutrients. So evaporation is a very common process which we can see from the on the surface of water anywhere, like in the ponds or river, or even the water dropped on the floor. And transpiration occurs only in the living tissue, that is in the plant, and transpiration is the process of evaporation of water from the surface of the plant. So basically it's the same thing, but the difference is the transpiration occurs in living cells and evaporation happens on any water surface. And the transpiration keeps the plant cool and transfers minerals and other materials to different parts of the plant, and as the plant takes water from the soil, the openings in the root absorbs minerals as well, and for a plant to take water from the soil, water needs to be evaporated from the surface of the plant through transpiration, and once this happens, pressure is developed that forces the roots to absorb water from the soil and transfer it to the tips of the plant, and it is through the stomata that the major work of the evaporation of water is done. So the basic process of through which the water evaporates through the stomata present on the surface of the leaves is called transpiration and not evaporation. It's called transpiration because the plant cells are the organic matter or the living tissue. Our next question is, which of the following images are formed by plane mirror? So is it real, virtual, imaginary, or duplicate? So answer is virtual image. Now there is no such thing as imaginary image or duplicate image. There is either real image or virtual image, and a plane mirror forms a virtual image of a real object, and images formed by a plane mirror are virtual, upright, left, right, reversed, and at the same distance from the mirror as the object's distance from the mirror. The image distance is equal to the object's distance from the mirror and at the same size as the object. And the virtual image is that cannot be obtained on a screen. The light does not actually pass through the location on the other side of the mirror. It only appears to an observer that the light is coming from the back of the the mirror. So it is a virtual image. It is not a real image that it can be produced on a paper or other surfaces. It is a virtual image that is created on a mirror. Our next question is, which man-made fiber is obtained from wood pulp? So answer is rayon. Rayon is a generic term coined in 1924 for artificial textile material composed of reconstituted purified cellulose derived from plant sources, and it was developed as a substitute for silk and cotton, and rayon was the first man-made fiber made by the chemical treatment of wood pulp, and it has the same molecular structure as cellulose. Our next question is, which chemical is used to test whether the substance is acidic or basic? So is it salt or indicator or catalyst or neutralizer? So answer is indicator. Indicators are the substances that are used to test whether a substance is acidic or basic or neutral in nature, and they change their color when added to a solution containing an acidic or basic substance. Litmus paper is the best natural indicator to test the acid or base, and there are other synthetic indicators like phenolphthalein to test the acid or base. Our next question is, presence of which among the following is essential for rusting? So is it nitrogen, water vapor, oxygen or carbon? So answer is water vapor and oxygen. The presence of water vapor or water and oxygen is necessary for rusting to take place, and in the presence of oxygen or moisture or water, iron undergoes through a series of reactions and forms iron oxide, which is called rust. Therefore, rusting is the redox reaction of iron in the presence of oxygen and water or air moisture. Our next question is, which substance offers no resistance to the flow of electricity? So is it insulator, conductor, capacitor or superconductor? So answer is superconductor. Superconductivity is a phenomenon displayed by certain conductors that demonstrate no resistance at all to the flow of an electrical current, and once the current has been started in a superconducting circuit, it continues to flow indefinitely, and superconductivity can be achieved only below certain critical temperature. Our next question is, which among the following is a property of the wires used for making electric fuses? So is it low melting point, high resistance or low conductivity? So answer is low melting point. A fuse is an electrical safety device that operates to provide overcurrent protection of an electrical circuit. A fuse is a type of low resistance resistor that acts as a sacrificial device to provide overcurrent protection, and low resistance causes the fuse wire to melt if a current is more than the safe current for the appliance, and besides the wire of the fuse has very low melting point, and when high current flows through the circuit due to overloading or short circuit, the wire gets heated and melts, and thus it protects the electrical appliances. So the low melting point is the main property of the wire used for making electric fuses. Our next question is, which is the smallest unit of inheritance in living organisms? So is it nucleus, chromosome, gene or DNA? So answer is gene. The gene is that part of the DNA that codes for one protein, and these proteins determine virtually all of the characteristics of a person, and the gene is that part of the DNA that gets expressed, and there are other parts of the DNA that do not get expressed but are required for other mechanisms like maintenance of DNA, regulation of gene expression, etc. So a gene transfers information for one specific trait, while the DNA transfers all of the information for all the traits as well as to regulate the gene expression. Therefore, the smallest unit of inheritance is gene. Our next question is, the reaction between acid and base is called. So is it detoxification or emulsification or neutralization or fermentation? So answer is neutralization. The acid base reaction is called a neutralization reaction, and it consists of the transfer of hydroxide ion, that is H plus ion, from the acid to the base, and therefore they are also known as displacement reactions, and the products are usually salt and water, and therefore they are also called water forming reactions.